Here we go. Your first basics quiz for a grade worked out. Slope is up first. Slope being y2 minus y1, sitting pretty over x2 minus x1. And kids, you've been doing this in 7th grade. I love you, but there is no excuse for it. 10 minus 7, sitting pretty over 5, take away a negative 2. 10 minus 7 being 3, 5 take away a negative 2 being 7. So we're looking at 3/7 as an answer. All right, moving forward, number 2. What are the zeros? Zeros are also known as x-intercepts. They are where y is 0. Y is 0 here, here, and here. Those are your x-intercepts. They have a negative 2, 0, and 1. Negative 2, 0, and 1. So choices 1, 2, and 5. All right, 3, what is the average rate of change, the slope over the interval from -1 to 2? So, reading this notation, that's the only thing I get that's just kids struggle with. This says from x equals -1 to x equals 2. So let's think about the line here. This is where x is -1 on the graph, and this is where x is 2 on the graph. And what we're doing is we're finding the slope of that line, that imaginary line that would connect those 2 points. That slope has been rise over run for my pretty much whole life since we first learned about it when I was a kid. When I was like, 7th grade, maybe 8th when I was a kid. But I have risen 9 units, and I have ran 3. And 9 over 3, last I checked, was 3. Moving forward. Using the table below, find the average rate of change, again, better known as slope to the average person, from x equals 2 to x equals 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of circle these points here, and I'm going to think of them as ordered pairs. I got 2, 5, and I got 8, -20. And then I'm going to do m is y2 minus y1, sitting pretty over x2 minus x1. If I go too fast, learn how to listen quicker, or just hit the pause button, right? So what are we going to have here? We're going to have -20 minus 5. Uh-oh, that's going to be an issue for some. Sitting over 8 minus 2. And if you're at -20 and you count left 5, you would be at -25, right? I believe so. And 8 minus 2 is 6. Choice B. Using your knowledge of PEMDAS, evaluate the following. So if for some reason PEMDAS just never got in your head, I'll take the time because I have nothing better to do but than to write it out. It's parenthesis, exponents, multiply or divide, and the key here is work left to right, add or subtract, and again, we work left to right. That's kind of how we do it. Of course, the truth is with adding, it doesn't really matter. But anywho, first thing I'm going to handle is these parentheses, and I know, and you know, that 5 minus 3 is 2. It always has been. Now I'm at exponents. I see 2 with a 2, so it's 2 squared, that's 4. All right. Multiply, 3 times 4 is 12. And then add, 12 plus 8 is 20. Choice A. All right, find the product. That means multiply these two things together, and we'll do this, doing the FOIL method, which you were taught in Algebra 1, and I saw that most kids know it quite well. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times a -5 is minus 10x. 3 times x is plus 3x, and then 3 times -5 is minus 15. Now, if I take a -10x and I add 3x to it, I'm sitting at -7x. 7, expand and simplify. If something is squared, write it twice. So write 2x minus 5 twice. And you'll be good there. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times a -5 is take away 10x. Back on the inside now. -5 times 2x is also -10x. So if you just kind of look at your x's here, you got -20. It's choice C. So I only want to have -20x. Simplification. This will be one that gets a lot of kids today. It will be. First off, you think about 6 over 36, and that is 1/6. So I don't get to be B. All right. Now let's focus on these exponents. We have x to the negative 4 over x to the second. We're going to shift this piece with negative exponents down below, leave the understood 1 that was there, and that's going to make that exponent positive. And then we're going to add 2 and 4, and we're going to get 1 over x to the 6th. So I also need an x to the 6th in the bottom. So it's choice D, because choice D had the 1 over 6, and it also had the x to the 6th down low. Number 9, you're supposed to solve for x, and this is as easy, bruh, as getting your x's on the left and your numbers on the right. So if I do 8x minus 2x, I get 6x, and if I do negative 30 minus 6, I get negative 36. Divide out the 6, and the x value is negative 6. Choice B, almost done. Moving on to 10, solve for x again. Have you heard of a property that starts with a D? I hope you have, otherwise you paid no attention whatsoever. 4 times x minus 1 is 4x minus 4. We still have the negative 2, still equal to 26. If I put these two numbers together, I'd have a negative 6. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to counteract subtraction with addition. 26 plus 6 is 32. And how many times does 4 enter 32, you might ask? The answer is 8 times. 11 will be one that gets a lot, because you have to write two equations. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to isolate absolute value. So we're going to do isolate that thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 4. 3 absolute values of x plus 1 is equal to 18. And we're going to divide by 3. That's going to give me that the absolute value of x plus 1 is 6. Now we write two equations. The first is as is. So x plus 1 is 6, which means that x is 5. And there she is. The second, we change the sign on the stuff inside. That was change the sign on the stuff inside. So instead of having a positive x plus 1, we have a negative x minus 1, still equal to 6. We add 1, negative x is 7. We divide out the negativity, and x is negative 7. So choices 1 and 3. 12, your favorite F word, factoring. Now, a trinomial is created by the product of two binomials. It takes an x and an x to create the x squared. Things that multiply together to be 16 are things like 4 and 4. 4 and 4 is cool because 4 plus 4 is 8. You notice there's an 8. There's also like 8 and 2, but 8 plus 2 is 10. 8 minus 2 is 6. You'll notice there's an 8. It takes a 4 and a 4 to do this thing. Now, a negative 4 plus a negative 4 is negative 8. A negative 4 times a negative 4 is positive 16. Notice how I have these pieces? There you go. She's x minus 4 times x minus 4. She's choice B. She is what we call a perfect square. And 13, completely simplify the square root of 32. So there's lots of ways of doing this. You can do things the long way, or you can do things the short way, and I prefer the short way. I know that 32 is a square root of 16 times a square root of 2, because 16 times 2 is 32, children. Multiplication tables. Well, actually, that's not the multiplication tables you memorize, but multiplication. And the square root of 16 is 4. 4 root 2, which isn't a choice on here. So I am really, really happy that I actually looked at this and fixed this before I made copies. So anyways, I guess I'll make this choice A. I have to go change that real quick. Let me pause this. I will be right back. Now, where we are, we're at the bonus question here. Solve for x using the quadratic formula. Be sure to simplify your answer. So let's see what I've made up here. Okay, so first off, let's sing the stupid song. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, where do I get a, b, and c? I get a, b, and c from knowing what's called standard form of a quadratic, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. A is the understood here 1 that's in front of x squared. B is the number in front of X, which is 6, and then C is 3. A is not 1x squared. A is 1. It's a number. That's what she is. And then I'm going to move forward in my life, and I'm just going to plug all this stuff in over here. So it says opposite B to start off with, a -6, because it was a positive, plus or minus. It's actually a good habit to wrap this piece in a set of parentheses. So 6 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 3. And Z is all sitting pretty over twice A. So 2 times 1. All right, moving forward with our lives and your lives, you need to figure out what this is. This is called the discriminant. And inside here we have 36 minus 12, right? 6 squared is 36. 4 times 1 times 3 is 12, and that's 24. So we have -6 plus or minus root 24. I like to break these things apart right here. That's just where I break them apart. You do you, but they do need to be broken apart sooner or later. Root 24, if I think about it, I feel like it's 4 times 6. There's other things it could be. You could say it's root 4 times root 6. You could say it's root 3 times root 8. But you don't know the square root of 8, do you? I don't. I know it's 2 root 2. Like you could work with that and say, okay, hey, that's 4 times 2. And then you could do some math and put things back together. But or you could just stop here. You could also say it's like root 2 times root 12. But this is the best one. Root 4 being 2, so 2 root 6. Now -6 over 2 is -3. You have made this guy become 2 root 6, also over a 2. Bam, 2's cancel. So x is -3 plus or minus a square root of 6. And that is the bonus. So it took 11 minutes to work it out, fully explained. So that means it would only take just a couple of minutes for me to do this. So you should finish this in class.